I don't stand side by side with nobody till I bleed with them first.
What did we just see? You probably think this world is a dream come true.
When I step into this ring, yeah, bro, I am addicted.
Don't sleep on Luca!
Maybe tomorrow we'll all wear 42.
If you fight for your dreams will fight for you!
MGMT is the alternative duo of Andrew Van Wijngaarden and Benjamin Goldwasser. The duo started out together in college and over the past 2 decades have carved out a unique place for themselves in music. Many will know them from their hits Kids and Time to Pretend, but what about after? That was the journey I set out on. Having only known their work from those 2 songs, I wanted to see what the rest of their discography sounded like. I also have to quickly correct myself from the ending of the last discography review. MGMT have 5 studio albums now with the release of their 5th. I had confused one of their projects being included in the studio album discography, and I guess it's here that I'll also clarify that for the most part, I'm simply reviewing base projects. By this I mean, I'm not listening to any special editions, any deluxe versions, or other types of albums, such as live albums or certain compilations. They just aren't included, and I just want to keep things sort of simple and focus on, each artist without getting into too many specifics. With that out the way, we start MGMT's discography with our first record is Oracular Spectacular, released in 2007 and coming in at 10 songs, 40 minutes. This record is the main reason I selected MGMT as the next artist of choice. When it comes to this record, there's a lot of nostalgia behind it. Everybody remembers the hits, and they have memories associated with the songs in various different mediums such as video games. So, I wanted to see how the rest of the record held up, and then go from there to see how the rest of their discography plays out. Will I be blinded by nostalgia? Let's see. First off, one of the things I loved about this record was the whole joke factor. The songs that got companies interested in MGMT were songs that were made as jokes in college. To them, it was like taking a crack at how easy it is to make pop music and the whole rock star aesthetic. So when it came to this record and the rest of it, it had that similar vibe. However, they were already establishing their own unique sound, and along with that, on this record, they established very different sounds. With these different sounds came different tones, pace, and moods. However, I don't know if I'm a complete fan of the execution. This is mainly because it is a bit sudden to go from a song like Time to Pretend to a bit of a slower song like The Youth to then going to upbeat songs like Kids and Electric Feel. It's not that I don't like the shift, in fact balance is good for a record. I just feel it's a bit too sudden at times. Overall, the instruments and production on this record is really great and holds up. On the other hand, I don't know if I can say the same for some of the vocal performances. At times, there are songs that just don't quite hit with me, and then there are others that definitely take some time to grow on you. A song like Pieces of What also stood out to me as being very influential, as later on you would hear many singers have this same sort of vocal style. For example, I can hear a song like Riptide by Vance Joy being very reminiscent of this style. While on the topic of vocals, I think a song like Of Moons, Birds, and Monsters is a great showcase of MGMT's vocal inflection abilities. While we come to a close with this record, I want to mention that during this process, I am walking. I bring this up because a lot of times it's going to be really difficult for me to pay attention to the lyrics in a song. As we saw throughout the J. Cole discography review, I tried my best. And it's the same sort of thing here. I try my best to note things down and look into things while I'm writing the scripts for these videos, but it's obviously something very difficult. But like I said in that J. Cole video, I'm trying to improve, as we go along. And I bring it up especially here because an artist like MGMT, they tend to be really ambiguous at times with their songs. It's always very unclear at times. Sometimes they make it abundantly clear what they're talking about, but other times it's like they're leaving it up for interpretation. So it's very difficult to get like a sort of set idea, and especially when you're looking into these lyrics, it takes a lot more than just reading the lyrics and being able to go, oh, that's what they're talking about. Overall, my main takeaway from this record, however, is how easy of a walk it was. It is also a record with just a unique sound, and even when you take your nostalgia shades off, it's still a fun pop record with impressive vocals and production. After listening to this record, I was excited to see how they were going to evolve and grow from this debut, and I was especially trying to be as open-minded as possible so that nostalgia wouldn't hinder my future listening experiences. By that last line, I meant what I was basically stating earlier. A lot of us only know MGMT from their hits, but that doesn't necessarily mean the rest of their music is going to sound that way. It's a good thing I went in with this mindset because our very next record was Congratulations. Congratulations was released in 2010, coming in at 9 songs, 43 minutes. While looking into some background for this record, I found a small detail that I just love. In an interview, Goldwasser said there isn't a time to pretend or kids on this album, and that they wanted to make sure people would listen to the album in order and not just pick out songs. Album sequencing is definitely a lost art nowadays. Moving forward, Congratulations is definitely a record that MGMT experimented on a lot. And personally, I think that is my favorite part of this record. For one, a lot of the music on here just sounds magical. The build up and finish of Somebody's Missing had me floating. Flash Delirium is one of my favorite songs off this record. One of the things I love the most from this song is the clashing vocals. I know for some, the clashing and overlap can get chaotic, but personally I love that effect. I personally love it when artists take that creative direction, and MGMT did it so well on this song. While on the topic of creative direction, I like the creativity behind Siberian Breaks. However, I think I can agree with any sentiments that this song might be a bit too chaotic. In my personal opinion, it's one of those that feels like it could have been broken up into multiple different songs. Don't get me wrong, it is unique, ambitious, and very beautiful, but it is also absolute chaos. It is a song that seemingly shifts direction every minute and can become a bit difficult to keep track of, especially with its 12 minutes of length. Overall though, Congratulations is a very experimental album that might throw some new listeners off, but it was one of my favorites from MGMT. From here, we get MGMT's self-titled record in 2013, coming in at 10 songs, 44 minutes. Talk about consistency with these record lengths. The self-titled record is one that I have very little words for. Mystery Disease was the first track to stick out to me from this record. Lyrically, it makes me want to check out more about its subject matter. However, any attempt I did, make to try and find more meaning with this song is met with discussions that are all over the place with this song. This connects back earlier to what I was saying about MGMT's music being ambiguous and confusing the hell out of people. Some say it's about addiction, others say death. However, nobody can really come to a true agreement. Overall, like I said, I don't have a whole lot to say about this one. I really liked Mystery Disease and A Good Sadness. Little Dark Age is the 2018 record from MGMT, coming in at 10 songs, 44 minutes. Before getting into this record, can we just appreciate how good MGMT's album covers are? In my opinion, not a single miss. Also, like I stated, no special editions or deluxe albums, so I didn't listen to the Matthew Deere remix, at least for this review. It's just the base version of Little Dark Age. Those other versions, I'll likely check out on my own time. Any other, projects that I might have missed, such as EPs or stuff like that, I'll likely get into on my own time. But getting into this record itself, I did not know Little Dark Age was MGMT. To me, that just shows the growth and development since Oracular Spectacular. Because whenever I heard the different edits on TikTok, MGMT would not have been my first guess as to the one singing that song. When examining the song and record as a whole, there's a bit of an unsettling vibe to it all. I think it's mainly the production and vocals. I don't know if it makes sense, but the songs at times sound good and upbeat, but to a degree where you sort of start questioning the vibe. Like, things are almost too good. This record, more than any, sort of embodies that phrase that you hear a lot of people throw around of, art should comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable. I thought a song addressing screen time was very interesting. It had that self-awareness to it, like we all acknowledge how much time we spend on our phones, but we also almost don't see a wrong in it. It's like considered a norm to us. Looking deeper into the song One Thing Left to Try, probably one of my favorite songs off the record and from MGMT as a whole. The production of it is otherworldly. However, it's the subject matter that gets me. One Thing Left to Try is a song that talks about some very serious topics such as suicidal ideations and mainly the ins and outs of depression, all while you get this very upbeat 80s like production. One of the things I love the most is that while the production gives off that upbeat nature, the tone of the vocals is what causes you to actually like listen to what they're saying. And again, it makes you realize things might be too good to be true in that sense. I don't know if I'm making sense with all this that I'm saying, but like those are just the feelings I'm getting. And again, it may be biased, but I just absolutely love songs like this one. And overall, this is probably my favorite record from MGMT. Just the overall sound and lyrical work behind this entire album as a whole was great. The songs that I really personally enjoyed a lot from this album were, of course, Little Dark Age, One Thing Left to Try, When You're Small, and Hand It Over. Finally, we reached their most recent release, Loss of Life. Loss of Life, at the time of this recording, just released last week on February 23rd, 2024, coming in at 10 songs, 45 minutes. This record is an album that, in a way, builds off of Little Dark Age. Mother Nature is a very beautiful song about starting over. One person puts it as entering the light after the Little Dark Age. Dancing in Babylon, to me, was a song that was very reminiscent of like Fleetwood Mac in a way. I really like the introspection of Bubblegum Dog. Basically, it's a song about MGMT's music making process. They understand that the fans want more music, but they don't just want to make music. They don't want to put out music that is plain or soulless to them. They are perfectionists in a way. They want to make a song that is fulfilling to them, but also that will satisfy the fans. Nothing to Declare was a beautiful song with an equally beautiful story. Nothing to Declare essentially talks about understanding that the world is yours but never being satisfied. As many say, the world is your oyster, however, we are never satisfied. We find treasures, but they're never what we want or crave. However, at the same time, we don't know what it is we are seeking for. We are searching for some great treasure, but because we don't know what that treasure is, we constantly ignore the various treasures and blessings of life because we think there's something greater to be found. Overall, this whole record is great at exploring the human mind and our various emotions. It's also a record that comes off at times as very accepting. Similar to Crave by Paramore, it is a record that feels very accepting of moving forward after a grueling period of trials and tribulations. Overall, MGMT has a great discography. I know this one's a bit shorter, but given it's only 5 records, I hope you understand. If you were like me and only knew them from their hits from Oracular Spectacular, you should definitely check their work out. MGMT is very unique from their vocals, to their production, to their lyrics. Everything is unique about them to me. I look forward to looking more into their works, finding out more about their thought process behind it all. And as it stands, my current ranking for MGMT's discography goes as follows. Self-titled last, followed by Oracular Spectacular and Loss of Life. These two are really interchangeable for me right now at the 4 and 3 spot. Congratulations, and Little Dark Age coming in at first. Congratulations and Little Dark Age are so great. I recommend these 2 records the most, but really all of them are great. One of my favorite discographies to explore so far. As for our next artist, due to a recent fun round of aux battles with my friends, I'm very excited to check out the discography of K-pop trio Vivici.